banished to die alone from the hero party just because he was weak, but they don't know his true potential. Del is a teenage boy of humble birth from Earth. He is attending the last year of his high school until a magical circle transported the whole class into another world. He is the weakest among the other students that were summoned to another world. It resulted in him being banished from the hero's party. Consequently, he has to survive on his own in another world, which he has no idea about. He only survived one more. A drunk boy holding a glass of strong alcohol in one hand shouted. His gaze was hazy. At first glance, it just looked like a teenager that drank alcohol for the first time and got addicted. However, that was not the case. The boy was simply trying to let all of his problems go away with a gulp of the satanic drink. Del, this is your third glass already. Are you sure you're all right? The bartender, who was wiping the glass, asked. The boy was very drunk and thus put his glass down roughly on the table. Shut up and pour me another one. The bartender poured another glass for the boy with a face filled with concern. Again, how did you end up here anyway? Rena, do I have to tell that story again? Del asked back. Del was not an ordinary boy from this world. He used to be a high school student on Earth and was summoned to another world alongside his classmates. The reason he was summoned, alongside the other students, was to defeat the Demon King. However, there was one particular thing with Delaware. He was inept. Compared to the other students, his status was very bad. His status was so bad that it was weaker than the average person of the world he was currently in. Besides, he also didn't have any special skill either. All in all, he was just an ordinary high school boy that got transported to another world without any special perks. You know, Del had a hiccup in my world. I am supposed to be studying to enter university. Now I have to do odd jobs just to get a loaf of bread on my table. The bartender gave Del a confused look. Why don't you return to your old world then? Would you like to know what they said when asked that question by us? Heroes, you have to defeat the Demon Lord first before you can return to your old world. The Demon Lord is the only one with the ability to return all of you to your world. Those were the words that the darn king said to me, Del said as he gulped the glass of alcohol on his hand. Rena poured alcohol into his glass again. And here you are, turning into a drunkard before you even know it. It ain't like drinking milk will solve my problem. Del drank the whole glass in one swig and slammed the glass into the table. Then he added, I might as well turn alcoholic at this point. Rena sighed. Whatever you say, Delaware. If you pay, I don't give a damn. Del used to be a bright student back on Earth. However, it all changed when he got ostracized from the other heroes, because he was the weakest among them all. Everything happened in such a short period of time that Del remembered almost every second of the summoning event. He swore he wouldn't forget it, even if he died. Del Moore Level 1. Strength 5. Agility 7. Vitality 15. Aptitude 12. Perception 6. Skills, language comprehension. Magical energy 40/40ths. Health point 150/150. Del was beaming a smile as he looked at his stats. In his opinion, it was not too bad. His health was above 100, which was already good enough for him. According to his knowledge of some shooter games, he knew that anything above 100 was a good thing. While looking at his status plate, Del admired the impressiveness of the throne room. The king was sitting on his throne while looking at the heroes that his court magicians just summoned. He expected that all of them would have a ridiculous amount of strength. He sat on a throne purely made of gold. The other students, on the other hand, were scattered around the throne room while they were busy looking at the status plates that the king's servants had given them. Most of them were cheerful, even Del. Yay, I have some op stats right here. Del smiled as he continued admiring his status plate. Del hadn't seen the other's status plate yet, so he hadn't found the benchmark for the stats. However, what mattered for him was his status was satisfying for him. It was more than enough. The only thing that was unsatisfactory was probably his lack of skills. He hoped to have more skills. Suddenly, one of the students raised his hand. Del looked over and saw it was Eric, one of his classmates, who did that. Your Majesty, my average status is 100. Is it good enough? 100? The king immediately stood up from his throne when he heard that, and immediately approached Eric. The king's eyes opened wide when he saw the status shown on Eric's status plate. All of the status were indeed 100. It was pretty much overpowered. Dell, who was standing near Eric, caught a glimpse of his status plate. Eric Larrand, level 1. Strength, 100. Agility, 100. Vitality, 100. Aptitude, 100. Perception, 100. Skills, Magic Comprehension LVL. 45 Swordsmanship Comprehension LVL. 50 Leadership Comprehension Language Comprehension, Explosive Barrage LVL.3 Blitz LVL.5. Magical Energy, 400/400. Health Point, 1000/1000. Oh God, thanks for sending us our savior. The king reacted that way. Then, before he could recover from the shock brought by Eric's status, another student said something that shocked him as well. Sir, how about me? I have 400 in my aptitude. The one who said that was Dell's twin sister, Anna. Anna could be said as Dell's female equivalent. She had a beautiful feature and slender figure with black hair. She was considered as one of the princesses in his classroom. The king approached her, and his jaw once again dropped when he took a look at her status plate. He absolutely never saw a level 1 with aptitude as high as Anna. Anna Moore, level 1. Strength, 30. Agility, 50. Vitality, 70. Aptitude, 400. Perception, 120. Skills, Magic Comprehension LVL. 75 Language Comprehension Iberium Spear LVL.7 Persa Claw LVL.2 Healing LVL. 5 Area Healing LVL.
9.
Magical Energy, 1600/1600. Health Point, 700/700. Dell also took a look at Anna's stats and instantly noticed the difference, or rather, massive contrast between him and her. Even so, as a brother, it was only natural for him to congratulate his own sister. Therefore, he approached Anna and congratulated her for the very impressive stats she had. Like a brother he was, Dell patted Anna's head. Anna, that's some good stats you have there. Congratulations. Hearing her brother's praise, Anna replied with a smile, thanks. I bet your stats are good too, Delaware. Still, I haven't even looked at your stats. Would you like to show it to me? Dell just showed his status plate in a nonchalant attitude, and the king who was nearby also had a look at his status plate. Then he frowned when he looked at Dell's status plate. The expression on his face was saying he wasn't satisfied at all. The way the king gave back the status plate to Dell was just like when his parents gave back his test paper when he got a bad score, with full disappointment on their faces. Your status plate is not good. That kind of status is actually below the average of this world. That was the moment when everything began to go downhill. Dell just stopped in place as his mind replayed the words the king just said to him. He held his status plate in place as he felt his heart devastated and crumbled piece by piece. He didn't even react when the whole class was walking in his direction. It could be seen that all of them had curious expressions on their faces. They were curious as to why the king was so disappointed. Dell, that's quite a shitty status, Jackson, a student, commented as he showed his own status plate. Jackson Martin, level 1. Strength, 50. Agility, 75. Vitality, 25. Aptitude, 50. Perception, 30. Skills, Language Comprehension Swordsmanship Comprehension LVL. 40 Knife Throw LVL. 3-LVL.
2.
Magical Energy, 200/200. Health Point, 250/250. Dell took a deep breath and tried to regain his confidence that was just being devastated. That's quite a good one, I presume? Jackson pulled his status plate back and put it into his pocket as he replied with a smile filled with pride. Haha, damn right it is. In the meantime, the king headed back to his throne chair, ignoring the students who began taking a look at Dell's status plate. He was about to give the heroes their next order after his advisor whispered something to him. Before this, the advisor had been looking around at the students' status plates to see whether there was something odd with the heroes or not. The king just nodded on what the advisor advised him to do. Meanwhile, Dell felt uncomfortable with the situation. The king said that his status was below average. Could it mean that he will receive harsher training than the others? Moments later, the king stood up and introduced them to their trainer. His name was Liner, and the man was apparently the head captain of the royal guards. He was a tall man with a height as tall as probably 6 feet or something. Moreover, the man was wearing a very heavy-looking steel plate armor. He would be their trainer for the next couple of weeks. The king said that they needed to train their strength before they would be adequate to be sent to the dangers of another world, to their quest of vanquishing the demonic lord. Del just nodded at the king's words, understanding that he had to put more effort and train harder than the others to be strong enough. "All right, let's take all of you outside, shall we?" the king's advisor said as he walked to the door. Without further ado, all of the students followed the king's advisor out of the throne room. They walked through the massive hallway of the palace, where they could see the extravagance befitting of a palace. The red carpet was stretched as far as the hallway went and dozens of exquisite artworks placed throughout. Looking out the window, Del saw a vast courtyard where neatly trimmed verdant grasses grew profusely. They stretched across the courtyard, which was as big as a football field. Eventually, the advisor led them to a balcony of the palace. From there, everyone was served with a spectacular view. There was a colossal mountain visible to the north. Rings of clouds covered the mountain peak like a crown. Meanwhile, there was a dense forest located in the west direction. "Welcome to the Albanian kingdom, heroes. We are the biggest country on the eastern continent. The mountain to the north is the Belfar Ancient Mountain, the home of the dragon race. The forest to the west is the Jeopard Sacred Forest, the home of forest creatures," the advisor explained right in front of the balcony. The students were amazed by the sight of the mountain and the forest. They could see there was a city in the middle of the two landscapes. That city appeared very lively, with carriages entering the city walls from many directions. It would be safe to assume that this was the capital of the Albanian kingdom. The advisor pointed his finger at the town and said, "That town is called Ferris, and it is the capital of the Albanian kingdom." Needless, the town was simply amazing. There was no way to describe it other than saying that the town was a marvel of technology during the Middle Age. Del looked intently at the town, while enjoying the breeze blowing through the balcony. The other students were asking questions to the advisor, but the latter didn't answer. He went ahead and simply described what the Albanian kingdom was, and what the hero's goal in this world was. As they heard the advisor's words, some of the students that weren't convinced to help the Albanian gradually became convinced. In the end, it seemed that everyone would come on board to help the Albanian kingdom fighting the evil demonic lord. On the other side of the balcony, Del just stared impassively at this and knew the reason why. This was what would happen when teenagers got praised too highly. They were quickly brimmed with unbridled pride and felt that they were capable of taking on the entire world. So far, it seemed that the king and his advisors were praising them as if they were gods or something. The demonic lord resided in the western continent, and apparently, an expeditionary force had been sent to that region to investigate the activity of the demonic continent. The demons were known to be extremely powerful creatures, which required a strong force to be subjugated. The advisor told them that the demons had been bothering them for too long with their attacks on the merchants and adventurers in the eastern continent. Del didn't understand too much about the politics of this world, but he understood from the advisor's words that the demons were evil and the humans were good. "I hope this can convince you all enough to help the Albanian kingdom in our fight against the demon lord," the advisor said. "One important question, if I may ask," Eric raised his hand. "What is the Albanian kingdom going to provide for our fight against the demons? We are just students, and so we certainly can't fight against demons, or whatever you are saying. Don't worry, Head Captain Liner will train you to deal with the threats of the demons. He will teach you the basics of surviving inside of this world. We will also provide you with the finest weapons in our arsenal," the advisor said. Eric nodded. "Great. Anyway, you'll have to train every day with Head Captain Liner. We don't accept any compromise with the heroes. We want the heroes to fight to the best of their ability. I hope every single one of you can live up to our expectations." "Don't worry, we are the best after all," Eric replied while nodding his head readily. Hearing his words, the advisor complimented Eric, as expected of the best person in the party. "We will count on you, heroes." After that, the group headed inside the palace again, and made their way under the lead of the advisor. It turned out that they were invited to a banquet that the king held to commemorate their arrival. The advisor told them that they would be briefed more about the situation of the Albanian kingdom in the banquet. Everyone was excited when they heard about the banquet. However, Del wasn't thinking about the banquet. He worried that the kingdom would do something to him to make him stronger, something that was outrageous. And that wasn't exactly what he had in mind. He only hoped that he could become as strong as his friends to defeat the demon lord. His status was below average. Therefore, he worried that he would instantly die the moment he encountered a demon. 1 week later, the training didn't go so well for Delaware. He totally didn't expect head Captain Liner to give him much harsher training than he expected. The man always gave him tenfold the amount of training the regular heroes went through, which meant 10 times the amount of suffering. All of this was because of his stats. Nevertheless, Del brute forced through the harsh training that head Captain Liner gave to him because he didn't want to be left behind. He always tried to do his best to become as strong as the others. However, catching up with those who basically had the same power as a superhuman proved to be not an easy endeavor. He also tried training with the others. It didn't work out so well. Trying to have a duel with someone who slashed his sword so fast that Del couldn't even react to anything was basically useless. What was the purpose of training if the opponent had no intention but to beat him without even pointing out what was wrong with him other than being so weak? "Look, I can do this," Eric said as he showed that he could lift 200 pounds of weight easily. He managed to lift that much weight with only one finger, showing a feat that was impossible for a normal human to do. It just showed how strong he became in just 1 week, and how weak Del was in comparison. In the same span of time, there was no significant change in his physical ability other than the bruises he got from the harsh training. Furthermore, there was one special training that Del didn't like one bit. The training where he became a punching bag for Eric and the others. Head Captain Liner told him it was to train his vitality, so he would become much more resilient to damage. However, all that he felt throughout the training was pain, and more pain. Accepting it didn't mean that he wanted to do it. It just felt like a meaningless sacrifice that yielded so little result. It just seemed to never stop. The only thing that kept him going and stopping him from going insane was the slight increase in his status. His vitality indeed increased, but not as fast as others, even though he did his training 10 times harder than theirs. Apparently, it was simply his fate as a below-average hero. Eric Larrand, level 2. Strength, 200. Agility, 200. Vitality, 200. Aptitude, 200. Perception, 200. Skills, Magic Comprehension LVL. 45 Swordsmanship Comprehension LVL. 50 Leadership Comprehension Language Comprehension, Explosive Barrage LVL.3 Blitz LVL.5. Magical Energy, 1600/1600. Health Point, 4000/4000. Compared to Eric, Del's stats increase was very little. In fact, it was so little that it could be said to be nothing and made head Captain Liner think of giving him much more rigorous training than the harsh training he had already received. The man came to that conclusion after seeing the others' rapid growth in stats and comparing them to Del's improvement. "Damn, Del, why are your stats increasing so slowly?" Liner asked Del as the latter did his daily push-up. "Sir, I don't know," Del replied, gasping for air. Head Captain Liner stared at the young boy in front of him and couldn't help but feel pity for the latter. "I really need to report this to the advisor and the king. This situation is something that is out of my ability. So I hope you understand." Del nodded his head when he heard the man's words. "I understand, sir. Don't worry. You can report it to the king." "Thanks, Del, I appreciate it," replied Liner before he left. While Liner continued training the other heroes, Del continued his training alone. No one was willing to train with him because of his weak strength, unless he wanted to become a punching bag. Therefore, he couldn't help but feel disgusted with their attitude. They used to help each other 1 week ago, and now they didn't even want to be in touch with him. They seemed to have been corrupted by the extraordinary power they received. If in less than a week they have changed so much, what would happen in a month, or even 2 weeks? Del did not doubt that he would be stabbed in the back sooner or later. While Del was drowning in his own thoughts, Anna was seen approaching him with a glass of water in her hands. "Del, are you okay? Here's some water." "I'm okay, Anna. And thanks for the water," Del said as he drank the water in one gulp. Even though her brother already said he was fine, the concerned look on Anna's face still remained. "I am worried about you, Delaware. You are used as a punching bag by others. I can't stand it. However, Head Captain Liner told me that it was for training your vitality." She seemed to hesitate for a moment before opening his mouth again. "Is that true?" "Yeah, it's true. But don't worry about it, though. I'm fine for most of the time, thanks to your healing spell," replied Del with a smile to reassure his sister. Anna looked Del in the eye and said, "Don't push yourself too hard, all right? I am worried about you. If I don't push myself, how can I be as strong as you? Come on, you know how I am in life, right?" Del asked while shrugging his shoulders nonchalantly. "You're such a try-hard, you know that?" commented Anna when she saw how her brother behaved. "Haha, I know that. Anyway, you should get back to your training. The others are waiting for you," said Del, while pushing her away gently with his hands. Before Anna could walk far, Del called her. "Oh, and Anna." "Yeah?" asked Anna as she turned her head around. "You have such an impressive spell," said Del with a smile. Anna let out a gentle smile at her brother's words. "I know." She then ran back to the rest of the heroes, while Del continued his lonely training. Looking at the back of his sister, Del silently vowed to become stronger. However, it also seemed that it wouldn't happen to him anytime soon. Moreover, he felt that some people were starting to look at him like a human seeing a pest. He wanted to stand up against them, but sadly he couldn't. Days later, the king suddenly asked Del to go to his office. Apparently, he wanted to give him an order. Furthermore, the order was for him and only him. Therefore, Del couldn't even refuse that. As he walked down the long hallway, Del frantically hoped that the order wasn't an order of his execution. If it was, then he could only helplessly accept it, as he had no way of escaping it. The moment he entered the king's office, the man was seen reading a paper on his table. Since there was no one else in the room, he must have expected Del to come. Not wanting to upset the king, Del quickly sat down on the chair in front of the king's desk. He was anxious. The king was certainly a person with a very high societal standing. He was someone that expected respect from everyone that he saw. "Del, I'll have to give you tough news. Are you ready to listen?" the king asked. Del subconsciously swallowed his saliva. "Sure, I'll listen to it." "Excellent. Listen carefully, as this is what my advisors and I have in mind for your condition. Del, we are going to war, and I don't want any compromise on our side. So like it or not, tomorrow there will be a vote. The vote will decide whether you will be banished out of the hero's party or not," the king said calmly, as if he had nothing to do with the matter. Del shouldn't be surprised by the revelation, but his jaw couldn't help but drop once he heard that from the king himself. Clenching his shaking hands that were hidden by the table, Del held back his feelings and asked in a quivering voice, "Why? The battle against the demons will be very fierce. So I don't want your friends to have a dead weight in their team. That's all. I've been training hard, giving and doing my best. And is this how you repay me?" Del asked, his face contorted with the overwhelming emotion he was feeling right now. "You misunderstood something, young man. This is not how I repay you. I do what must be done. Be grateful that I don't send assassins to you and tell your friends that you are dead in an accident," replied the king, his voice cold. Del didn't have anything to say. He was in shock. However, he still had faith in his friends. They might not be what they used to be, but they wouldn't kick their friends out, would they? When tomorrow arrived, Del was anxious. The fear of the unknown was engulfing him. He had the odds of being banished, but it wasn't that big in his mind. He still had some faith in his friends, even after all that had happened to him. They were taking votes in the throne room. Most of his friends didn't have that much reaction to Del's banishment from the group. After all, Del wasn't exactly useful inside of that group. He would be a dead weight, and everyone knew it. It was just a matter of time until someone had the idea to banish him. "Your Majesty, may I inquire something? Why would Del need to be banished?" Eric asked. "I'm not banishing Delegate Del. Doesn't have a place inside of the hero's party." Del will be dead before he entered the front line. Let me tell you something, war is not a game, young boy, the king said. What do you mean? Albanian kingdom will take good care of Del, while you all defeat the demonic lord. We are not banishing him anywhere. We will put him out of the hero's party, and we will give him a more comfortable place, the king said. In that case, I also agree with you, your majesty. Del will be better off outside of the hero's party, Eric said. There was a larger murmur among the others' student. Some agreed with the banishment since they knew that Del was below the average person of that world, while the others didn't want one of their friends to be separated from them. Damn, why Del should be out of the party? He should stay, right? He will get himself killed. What do you think? Come on, it will be better for Delaware. Del couldn't speak up. He knew the king was lying. If he were to be banished, he would be really thrown out of the palace and the hero's party. There was simply no way out of that situation. Del felt very angry. He wanted to punch the king and Eric right now, but he couldn't. If he punched the king, he would get killed. If he punched Eric, the others would surely vote to banish him. There was no way to run. Del couldn't do anything. He was helpless. If he spoke up, Eric would cancel it out by saying that his voice meant nothing. Guys, listen. The king will keep Del safe, while we fight the demonic lord to return to our world. I trust the king, why wouldn't you guys? Eric used his diplomatic ability. Anna walked forward. Eric, we are a team. We can't do anything without Delaware. Eric smirked and sighed. Look, Anna, I don't care if he is your brother, but please be realistic in this current state. Del should get out of our party. But, please, Anna, be realistic. You want your brother to be alive, right? Eric pressured Anna. Yes, but this is not the way, Eric, Anna said. Anna, please, trust the king. Eric further pressured Anna. Fine. After that, the vote commenced. After some dispute between the students, the result of the vote was clear. More than half of the students voted for Del's banishment. Anna looked dissatisfied, but there was nothing she could do. Del felt betrayed that day. He swore that he would get back to Eric and give him a lesson. Eric, I swear I'll give you a lesson you'll never forget. Oh, I see. Well, I always forget that kind of story, you know? Anyway, if you can help me with the inn tomorrow, I'd give you free rent for 3 nights. What do you say? Rena asked drunk Del. Del wasn't conscious any longer. He had passed out from the overconsumption of alcohol. Rena looked concerned, but it wasn't like it was the first time Del passing out because of alcohol. Rena used to be an adventurer. She knew one of the spells to cure alcohol poisoning. Detoxification. Rena cast a spell. It wasn't the first time Rena cast that spell on Delegate ever since Del became an adventurer and an inn worker. Rena always took care of Del no matter what happened. Rena was an old woman with 1 daughter. Her daughter usually took care of the inn during the daytime. Del rarely interacted with her daughter. He always went to the Adventurer Guild during the daytime to get money to buy some food from Rena. Meanwhile, Del was floating inside of empty space called his dream. He looked around and it was only darkness. He had been through the dark space more than once. The nothingness was rather calming and soothing for him, although Del knew that Rena had cast a detoxification spell on him. Suddenly, there was a screen in front of him. Establishing connection with user. Connection established. Loading. Modern weapon summoning system calibrated. Oh, what the hell is this? Del asked himself. I'm your personal information and data management assistant. Just call me Pidma. I'm part of the modern weapon summoning system. Oh, you must be a part of my imagination, aren't you? Del asked the mysterious screen that appeared in front of him. Perhaps. Anyway, who are you and what are you doing in my mind? Del asked Pidma. I'm here to guide you in your journey on this world. My purpose is to serve you in your journey. What journey? Can you give me money or something? Del asked. Money? I don't think I can give you any currency that can be used in this world. However, I can give you guns or anything according to your level. Level? Del asked. Yes. My ability is based on your level. Displaying user's status. Del Moore level 2. Strength 7. Agility 10. Vitality 18. Aptitude 12. Perception 8. Skills. Language comprehension marksmanship LVL.1. Magical energy 96/96. Health point, 200/360. Well, what can you give for me now? Can you give me an M4 carbine or something? Dell asked. Error. User's tech level is not adequate for item M4 carbine. Tech level? How does it work? Dell asked. Your tech level will raise depending on your level. Right now, your tech level is 1. Tech level increases every time you level up 10 times. For example, to advance to the next tech level, you need to become level 10. Cool. What's available on this tech level then? Dell asked. Please select the menu below. Tech level 1 system upgrade unavailable. Vehicle, weapons, ammo, amenities, building, gear, and items. Well, can you make me a kit? Dell asked. A kit? A kit for you? Well, you have to finish a quest for me first. Quest? What kind of quest? I hope this is not some odd job or something, Dell commented. He still felt suspicious about the system that appeared right when he blacked out because of alcohol. However, it was nice to have someone to talk to in the dark, empty space of imagination. He didn't trust the system, but he certainly liked Pidma. Haha, nah. This is just a job for improving yourself. You need to become fit. If you aren't fit, you can't combat those who prefer you to disappear. Anyway, let me get the quest for you. It should be easy. Basic training 101. Alright, since you are not even fit to become a soldier, you need to exercise a bit. This exercise is certainly not heavy for you, who have tried head Captain Liner's training. Anyway, good luck with the exercise. Task. Do push-up 20x. Do sit-up 20x. Run 10 miles. Reward, 1x 1911 pistol 24x.45 ACP LVL.13x8. Rounds magazine 2x sterile gauze, strength +3 agility +3 3x medium crackers pack. Is this just the way my brain told me to exercise? I think I need to lose some weight, Dell said to himself. He still doubted the system. I'm as real as you can think of. Just do the quest, and I'll give you the reward later. Still, Pidma, what is your objective in helping me? Are you just a random part of my imagination that comes out of nowhere? Dell asked. Modern weapon summoning system activates when user levels up for the first time. Simply put, this is your special ability. Sadly, the king isn't wise enough to wait until you level up for once. What is your end goal? I don't think you want me to defeat the demon lord, do you? Dell asked Pidma. My end goal? I have no end goal. My goal is to make sure that you stay alive. Maybe if you become a demon lord, it would be a bonus. Come on, Pidma, stop joking, Dell said. Do you want me to give you a long-term quest to become the demon lord? Hell no. Very well then. I'll see you tomorrow then. Hopefully, you'll be prepared for tomorrow's assignment. Rena is a good woman. You should help her. Dell opened his eyes. The ceiling was not that of the bar. The ceiling was that of his own room. He tried to regain his consciousness after that long drinking session last night. The hangover was killing him with the headache. He remembered that he had a weird dream last night about Pidma and something with a system on it. Well, it was a dream, so Dell wouldn't even bother about that. He got up from his bed and washed his face with the water on the. Thinking about it, what happened last night? Dell thought as he washed his face. Hello. What? The screen from his dream appeared right in front of him. Yes, I'm Pidma. We met last night, right? Wait, you're the one from my dream? You're real. Dell's jaw dropped. I'm very real. We already have this conversation before, haven't we? Yes, I know, but still. I can't believe that you're real. What are you doing here? Are you here to remind me about something? Dell asked the mysterious screen that was floating in front of him. Yes, I'm here to remind you of our deal last night. Displaying quest. Basic training 101. Alright, since you are not even fit to become a soldier, you need to exercise a bit. This exercise is certainly not heavy for you, who have tried head Captain Liner's training. Anyway, good luck with the exercise. Task. Do push-up 20x. Do sit-up 20x. Run 10 miles. Reward, 1x 1911 pistol 24x.45 ACP LVL.13x8. Rounds magazine 2x sterile gauze, strength +3 agility +3 3x medium crackers pack. Whoa, so it's real? Del scratched his head while looking at the screen in front of him. Yeah, of course it's real. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Del, who are you talking with? Suddenly, Del realized that he had been talking to a screen that couldn't talk back. The voice from outside was Rena's. The inn owner must have thought that Del was still drunk from last night's drink, even though he had been detoxicated with her spell. Sorry, it was just a cat, Del said. All right. Breakfast is ready downstairs, Rena said from the back of the door. I'll be coming there soon, Del said. Del looked at the screen that was still in front of his face. It was on idle. Pidma must have heard Rena and went idle. Del immediately felt that it might be a good idea to do what Pidma told him to do. It was only a basic exercise. Del got on the floor and started the exercise. First, he would do the push-up. Del put both of his hands on the floor and started the exercise. He did the push-up 20 times. After that, another screen appeared. Do push-up 20/20 task completed. Del flipped himself over and started to do sit-ups. He lifted his body up and down 20 times. After that, the same screen appeared. Do sit-up 20/20 task completed. Del felt sweaty, but the sense of accomplishment was filling his heart. He felt energized to start the day. However, that spirit went away once he remembered that he could barely make anything by doing odd jobs in the guild. He picked up his swords and he went out of his room and locked the door. For rooms were on the second floor of the inn. The inn where Del was staying was well known to be cheap and decent. It was no wonder why there were so many beginner adventurers on the inn. Some of them were obviously still sleeping, while the others had gone down for the breakfast. Del went downstairs. The stair would lead to the lobby. The dining area and the bar were located at the back of the lobby. Usually, in the morning until afternoon, Rena's daughter would be at the receptionist's desk. Her name was Lisa. Lisa always worked when her mother was sleeping. Fortunately, Lisa was at the receptionist's desk right now. Del, what are you going to do today? Lisa asked as Del walked downstairs. The usual, running odd jobs from the guild for a little bit of cash, Del said. It would be better if you spend it on something other than alcohol, Lisa said. Ha, that's good advice. I'll see you later, Lisa. Del entered the dining area. As he thought, the dining area was quite crowded. Adventurers were eating at the tables of that dining area. Some of them were eating together in a group, while some others were eating alone. The breakfast was served buffet style. Del grabbed a plate. The breakfast for that day was mashed potato and gravy. It was not fancy, but certainly would fill up his stomach. Del sat down on a table near the window alone. He didn't feel like talking to the other adventurers. As he ate, he looked out of the window. The view of the small town was quiet as usual. There weren't many people living in the border region after all. Del was banished to a town called Midham. It was located very far away from the capital. It took Del 3 weeks just to reach the town using a horse carriage. The town was not filled with many buildings. There were only a few buildings inside of that town. The biggest building was the guild building, where the adventurers took quests. The other buildings were the blacksmith, the inn, the market, and some houses owned by the residents of that town. Overall, it was a quiet town without any traffic from a carriage or something similar. People also had zero to no interest to come to a town located close to the neighboring empire. Only select people wanted to stay in a town like that. There was a high chance that any border town would be attacked first. Del finished up his meal, and he went outside of the inn. He smelled the fresh air of the countryside. It definitely smelled better than the urban area where he used to live in. He walked down the streets to the guild building. The guild building stood up among the other buildings. That building was painted in white and was the tallest building inside of Midham. It was 5 floors tall. Guild building could be said as the most luxurious building in Midham, since it was a place where the more experienced adventurers stayed. Del entered that guild building. He headed straight into the receptionist's desk. Usually, the guild secretary compiled the quests according to their difficulty. They were F, E, D, C, B, A, S, 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 X, and O difficulty ranks. There was also the quest board where the guild secretary put a quest with high reward and high demands. Adventurers were also divided into those ranks. F-TO ranks were considered to be the novice adventurer, aka the newbies. D to C ranks were considered to be the beginner adventurers. B to A ranks were considered to be experienced adventurers. S to SS ranks were considered to be expert adventurers. SSS to X ranks were considered to be legendary adventurers. Then there was the O rank. This rank was so rare that nobody had gotten this rank before. This rank was usually attainable by combining the power of one adventurer party. But still, it was very rare to see a party with the strength of O rank. It was not like there was a quest for someone who had the rank beyond B in the town of Midham anyway. Most of the quests in Midham were either E rank or C rank. There was no point in giving an S rank adventurer an E rank quest. It would just be taken as an insult. "Hey, Dell, looking for work again?" the receptionist asked. "Yeah, more or less. What do you have for me?" Dell asked the receptionist. "Well, what do you have in mind?" "I'll search for it on the guild's quest book. There might be something that fit your request," the secretary said. Dell thought for a moment. Right now, the only assignment that he hadn't finished was the running for 10 miles assignment. It might be good to do a delivery quest, where he had to deliver a package to a location. "Do you have any delivery mission?" Dell asked the guild receptionist. "Well, in fact, I do," the guild receptionist said. "Show me then," Dell said. The guild receptionist put a paper on his desk. It was a quest with its description. There was also a small package beside it. The quest description was simple too. Maybe it was because an easy quest didn't need a lot of descriptions. Delivery of a wedding ring. Difficulty F. Location of delivery, Begard, Labisa Street 27. Reward, 2 silver coins, 50 copper coins. 1 silver coin was equal to that of $1 on Earth. It could buy Dell a meal, and that was it. 1 copper coin equals that of 1 cent. It was only there as a loose change. Copper coins were also very small. Many people lost copper coins since it was worthless. "All right, I shall take this quest then. Begard is not that far from here anyway," Dell said. "All right, here's the quest paper, and here's the wedding ring. I'll reward you once you return here, okay?" The receptionist said as he gave Dell the ring and the quest paper. Dell left the guild building with the package in his pocket.